Okay, we've got ourselves another retro martial arts video game here. This one's come from overseas as well. It's come from Belgium. So I have an idea which one this might be. So let's open it up and take a look. It's blank! Yay! Oh, okay. What do we got? YR Kung Fu! Good game, good game. Take a look at that. YR Kung Fu. Now, when did this come out? This was 84, 85, I think? 1984, possibly. This was one of the first video games to have, you know, a one-on-one fighting element. And it's still fun to play to this day. You know, it's very primitive, but it's cool. Look at this cover. I don't think I've gotten a case or a cover that's like this before. This is very, it's like a miniature DVD case. Look at this. Never seen this before. This is cool. Okay, let's open it up. Look at this. I've never seen one of these before. Look at this. Micro case. Wow, that's cool. Look at the little booklet here. Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. Look at the bad quality printing though. Scan lines. Not scan lines like it's been scanned, like literally like scan lines on a TV. Very cool. Look at that. I love it when they put stuff like that in the books. Yeah, there we go. Copyright 85, 84. I was around there. Alright, cool, man. And we got ourselves another cassette game. Yeah, copyright 85. Made in England. Konami. So yeah, that's our cassette. Got ourselves another cassette here. I'm getting a lot of these retro cassette games recently. And it's quite ironic because I've never owned a computer that played these cassettes. But they're still cool. Let's get the artwork out so I can see it a little bit better. The back. Oh, okay. Oh, look at this. Okay, it was put in. They put it in wrong. So they folded this up a little bit. That's cool. That's cool. That'll straighten out with time. Looks much better with a back cover, clearly. You know, look at that. Very cool. There's our Bruceploitation picture there. Bruce Lee lookalike. Nunchaku. And we've got our traditional Kung Fu stylists in the back. Now, if I recall correctly, this game was in heavy competition with another game at the time called Karate Champ. Now, Karate Champ, I think, may have been just before this game. I could be wrong. Karate Champ, you saw that in the scene in Bloodsport where Frank Dukes plays a game of Karate Champ. And no doubt you've played it before. If you're into martial arts video games, you've played it. You know what that game is. YR Kung Fu played this originally on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. If you've played the arcade version, you'll notice that the main character he actually looks different to the game's main character in the home version. From what I can see here, it looks like the main character is based on the arcade version of the character. But when you look in the booklet here, he looks a lot like Well, he kind of looks like the character that you get in the NES version. The character in the NES version looks like a little boy, but the one in the arcade version, he looks like a man. I don't know why that change was made. If I remember correctly, when you first start up the game, it's got that sort of tune going. Now this brings to mind a debate that I have, or that I've had with many people about this tune. Here, this. Now, very stereotypical, the word for it be Oriental sort of sound, because this, this was always used in things that featured like, Asian martial arts and things like that, especially like in old movies, old American movies, and even media. So like even games, one comes to mind would be Wolverine on the Super NES. The stage when you go to Japan. The background music, check this out. So there's that tune again. Now, I'm very picky with these things. Is this a Japanese tune, or is this a Chinese tune? Also, I think the last track on the 1987-88 Kuni album with Jeff Scott Soto singing on vocals, the last track features that tune as well, right on the end. Kuni being Japanese, okay, brings to mind more confusion. So the song Turning Japanese as well features that. What other song? Carl Douglas's Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody was Kung Fu Fighting. That's where we heard it as well. So Kung Fu being Chinese, Turning Japanese being Japanese, two very different cultures, two very different things we're talking about here. So I've brought this up with people, different backgrounds as well, and I'm like, well, Ye Are Kung Fu, Chinese, is it a Chinese tune or is it a Japanese tune? Yeah, so the main character in this game, his name is Oolong, according to this booklet. Oolong, like the tea. Okay, yeah, I get it. It's a pretty cool little booklet. Now we know Konami. Konami is still around. They're a big company when it came to video games, and they put out a lot of great martial arts video games over the years. Now another thing with this, the title, Ye Are Kung Fu. Now, obviously, Kung Fu is a very Americanized way of saying Gung Fu, and that's the term that most people associate Kung Fu, not with the G. Like for instance, Bruce never referred to it as Kung Fu, unless he had to, it was Gung Fu. Now, Ye Are Kung Fu, I never knew what Ye Are, what it meant. Ye Are sounds very Chinese, very mainland Chinese. Now my Chinese speaking skills, probably not the best. It actually turns out that its translation is 1-2 Kung Fu. So Ye Are San, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 Kung Fu. It kind of rhymes. But if you called the game 1-2 Kung Fu, it sounds like a Sesame Street thing, so Ye Are Kung Fu sounds a lot better, a lot more mystical. But also, Ye Are, I thought it was something like a real mainland where the accent is very emphasized. Ye Are. The little Mandarin that I do know, that I have learnt, it's from a more mainland background Chinese sound. So the people that I do converse with, who are of a Taiwanese background, have a different accent. Sometimes I'm not really understood all that well because my accent is coming from the very traditional sort of mainland sound. Like words like sh and s. Like sh is a very mainland Chinese sounding word. Yeah, different regions, different sounds. So yeah, it turns out ER 1, 2 ER some. So quite a good game, quite a fun game. Still holds up quite well. I like this game a lot, and I love the cover. I love the artwork. I love the exploitative sort of Bruce Lee, trying to cash in on the Bruce Lee image again. And there's, it's no secret. We know that there's been this Bruceploitation thing going on since after he passed away. You had actors like Bruce Lee and Bruce Liang and Bruce Lee came in to kind of fill in the void after Bruce was gone. I think even Jackie Chan at one point was kind of brought into the industry to try and fill the shoes of Bruce. Yeah, I like having sort of like Bruce Lee sort of things like this as well. I think when I'd gone to Taiwan the first time around, I'd found these, and I don't use matches unless I'm having a really bad day in the bathroom. I still had to buy these because they looked cool. And I gave them to two buddies of mine that I was training with back here in Australia, because I knew that they smoked. So I was like, here guys, a little souvenir for you. Actually, two great training buddies of mine, Hamish and Jeff. So like, if you guys are watching, hey, I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're doing well. It's been a few years since I've seen you guys. I don't mind if you don't have those matchstick boxes anymore. It's all good. I've got photos. This is Yara Kung Fu. Great looking piece of martial arts video game history here. A very unique case, so this is great. It's going straight into the collection. Very happy with this. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.